It was full startup mode. We didn't have golf carts. We didn't have really anything. Just a blank building, no maintenance equipment. We hit the ground running. We got the golf course open immediately. It was open the first couple of days for walking only. It really hadn't been cut or even mowed. We borrowed some equipment from a couple of our owned golf courses that we had in New York, brought it up here, hired Dennis, rented some golf carts. They were gasoline. They weren't the best shape, but we got open. And we were excited about what we saw. We had some decent amount of traffic, had some weekend play, some members started to fill in, or some members from previous years. And we started to build a little bit of a loyal base. By the end of April, is when we really started to get into action, starting May 1st, which if you were here a few minutes ago, I went through our May update. But by May 1st, we had all of our maintenance equipment, which was several $100,000 in brand new, state-of-the-art, greens mowers, fairway mowers, and bunker rakes, all those things. Again, we had all new backpack blowers, string trimmers, everything was brand new. Bunker rakes, shovels, tools, everything. In addition, we had a brand new beverage cart. We had 75 brand new electric golf cars that we leased from Club Car. So we were ready to go. And in addition, we had pretty good weather in April, and Dennis and his team were able to get the golf course looking phenomenal. We've had a lot of good comments from members, from some of our groups, men's club groups that have been, might be considered to be a little more vocal. They would certainly let us know, and they have. They've said, look, we think you're doing a great job. We think the golf course is in great shape given the season that we're in, and that's really where we've come. On or about May 1st, we also opened the food and beverage operation. So we had to acquire a food license, then we had to hire some food and beverage staff, and we got this open. And this has been doing exceptionally well. We've actually had a couple of parties up here already. We've got a full staff. We've got the downstairs open. We've got to service the pool. We've got this food and beverage open to service the daily fee golfers, and the members like to hang out in here. We also have the beverage cart open. And by sometime later this week, we'll have the tent, which if you haven't seen it, the pad's out there. We just poured the foundation. We'll have the tent open, which is going to give us the ability to book outings and events, birthday parties, et cetera, that are really going to help impact our bottom line and increase our revenue. So we're excited about that. To talk about rounds that we've seen this year, we started out in a stub budget period. So we've budgeted for a 3-month scenario to get us to the fiscal year budget, which starts on July 1st. We budgeted to do 7,250 rounds in March, April, and May. I'm sorry, April, May, and June. What we've been able to do is 5,626. So we're not quite there yet. We know we've had some exceptional weekends. Billy Casper Golf, which is the firm we work for, has 5 other 18-hole golf courses in Connecticut, and we were the busiest golf course of all 5 of them on Memorial Day weekend. We also rivaled them and held with the busiest on Father's Day weekend. So the weekend golf is huge demand. Where we feel like we need to get more impact is into leagues, weekday senior play, and other forms of weekday twilight play. So we're going to continue to try to market there. But we think we're off to a great start. We have had our challenges with the weather, as we do every year, but May was a little more rain than normal, especially in the early half, but we finished it up strong, so we're happy there. As Brian mentioned, from a startup perspective, there are a lot of expenses that we didn't budget for because they're hard to anticipate. Instances like you'll look in this room, it's not mood lighting in here. This is actually as light as it gets. We need to fix this. We need to get up there. We need to replace some of the ballasts. There's a lot of lights in restrooms, in showers that needed to be fixed that just end up costing a few $1,000s when you get it all said and done. The golf pro shop needed to be repainted. We went ahead and did that. Fixed some doors. Just several expenses like that have crept up that, anytime we've been able to make any savings on our expenses, we've spent those back. But we feel like we're finally to the point where I think we're running out of things to repair and fix for the operation that we're committed to. So as far as the tent, I mentioned earlier, the tent's going to go in next week. We've already booked 5 outings in the last 2 weeks. which is already totaling $25,000 to $30,000 in potential revenue. for that tent. So that's been booked before there was even a tent here. We think that number is going to increase dramatically. You know, as I mentioned at our last meeting, it's not uncommon for our golf courses in Connecticut to do between $300,000 and $500,000 in outing business, which doesn't count the birthday parties, christenings, bar mitzvahs, and other types of events that we can do with those. So I think that's going to lead to a lot of opportunity to build some more traffic and revenue for the club. One other metric that we like to use to gauge success is our membership sales. On the golf side, we've sold 72 golf memberships this year, totaling $128,750. And on the pool side, we've sold 148 memberships. And if you were here a few minutes ago, you would have heard Anthony Taddy say, this is pretty much the busiest, I think it is, without a doubt, the busiest pool season that we've had in his memory, which goes back quite a while. So we're excited about the pool memberships. The pool looks fantastic. We've had a lot of warm days out there where the pool has actually, we haven't reached capacity, but we've got a lot of people out there. So continue to be excited about that. As far as on the expenses, we're trying to only spend what we have to. We've made a lot of savings on labor. We've put $26,000 in the bank on labor savings this year. Golf ops and maintenance expenses, like I said, there was some startup in there as well, but we feel like we're getting to June, July, and August where we're going to be able to see some savings on some fertilizers and chemicals, irrigation repairs, certain things that we had to do to get the golf course up and running. We spent early. We're going to now see savings on that moving forward. So from an operations perspective, that's really my update. The things that we're doing to attract golfers to the facility, we've got several marketing campaigns out there. The first one is our Advantage card. This is a program that we sell to, it's a $29 card. We sell it to anyone who's not a resident. The reason why is that residents will always receive the lowest price without buying a card. But if you're a non-resident, you have the opportunity to buy a $29 card, and that's meant to help create loyalty. So you buy the card, you're going to save 15% off the rack fee anytime you play, and hopefully the people that have those cards will call Woodbridge their home and play here more. With 144 of those, that's a good start. It means we've got a lot of people that were interested in it. It means we've got a lot of people that plan on coming back here. So that's good news. Starting July 1st, we're going to discount that card half price to try to see if we can't sell a few more and get to 200. From a resident card perspective, that's a free card, but we do give it to all the residents of Woodbridge. There's 180 resident cards that have already been issued to residents. So that means we've got a lot of residents playing. We issue them a card so that we can track their behavior. We can also market to residents differently. Residents already received the lowest rate, but we want to do resident appreciation events and certain events that might be resident only or resident geared. So we're able to target that group and market to them differently. E-Blast, if you've played here, we're going to ask you for your email address. We don't make you give it to us, but we hope you do. We only bombard you twice a month with a pertinent offer, a Father's Day discount or 4th of July upcoming event that we might have in the tent. A lot of times that'll come with a discount offer that you can actually bring that email back to the pro shop and redeem it. So we've sent several of those to the database. And Golf Now, if any of you are golfers and you're familiar with Golf Now, it's a third-party reseller of tee times, and it's really taken over in the third-party selling business. Golf Now is really the king. They're the only ones out there. It's essentially like Hotels.com or Orbitz.com, where they sell everyone's tee times. So we're on Golf Now, and we measured our performance. This year, we've sold 620 Golf Now rounds in May, and last year, Golf Now only sold 78 rounds for Woodbridge. So that's substantially different. We want to understand why there's so many more rounds. We have a strong relationship as a company with Golf Now, and we think we've priced our rounds on Golf Now to be more attractive. But what we know is Golf Now customers are typically non-resident, and they typically are players that don't generally book through the call center. They're Golf Now playing customers. So they're going to go to that website, and they're going to book with somebody that's on there. So it's important that we market to those customers as well. We did a Living Social, which is like a Groupon offer. We did that back in April when we had unlimited inventory. We didn't know how busy we were going to be. It was an extremely discounted round, but we wanted to get that out in the market and just try to fill the place. The idea was, in this stub period, all of our campaigns have been about getting as many eyeballs on the property as we can. So we want to bring in as many people, even sacrificing rate right now to get them back into the experience. And now that we have the golf course in what I think is spectacular condition, now we want to show it off. We want to get you in here. We want to get your email so we can market to you. We want to get you into a card program, show you the pool, show you the facility, and try to get you to come back more. And then we talked about a grand opening tent event. So we've got the tent pad in place. We've ordered the tent. It's on the truck. It's being delivered tomorrow. We're going to have a resident, there actually is an official invitation that I can give, but it's Saturday, July 7th, and it's going to be an event in the tent, a barbecue, and a movie night. It's going to have pool access, and it's just it's meant to showcase the tent so that we can sell it, but it's also meant to be kind of a resident fun day. So we can get residents in here to see, to utilize what you've purchased. So that's really the plans. And then we talked to June preliminary results. So we're not all the way through June, but as Brian alluded to, we're actually making and slightly exceeding our budgeted rounds for June. So it'll be the first month where we've met our budget for rounds. May we got closer than we did in April, and June we're going to hit it. So we've been, every month we're getting a little bit closer to budget. We're still going to be behind in the revenues, but it's easier to fix that problem than it is to get bodies in here. And it doesn't appear now that we're having any trouble getting golfers to the facility. And we know where our weak spots are. They're on weekdays. And we know on weekends we've pretty much sold the inventory that exists. So there might be opportunity for us, especially on the non-resident side, to increase rate, pull back on some of the discounting, and try to increase our APR, average per round, that we receive from those golfers. And then in the first full month of operation on the food and beverage side, we're exceeding budget by about 15%. So we budgeted for $30,000. We budgeted for $24,000 in revenues, and it looks like we're going to come in about 30. So June metrics look really good. That was really my update.
You might want to have Anthony Patty talk a little bit about the pool.
Yes, Anthony, please.
Should I come up there, stay here?
Sure. Whatever's
You can have my chair.
You can stay there, Ryan. I'll just stand right
No, please. I'll come back.
I've been managing the pool here at the Woodbridge Country Club since 1999, and I have really never been more excited about the potential of the pool now than ever before. The numbers that we're seeing use the pool this year are blowing numbers that we've had since 1999. I think when the country club folded and then we moved into more of a public kind of a area, one of the things that we wanted to have at the pool was to kind of keep it kind of like the way it was when it was a private club. Towel service has been a huge factor at the pool. Members are coming back for the towel service. Heated pool. Also customer service. I think that's a huge area that we work daily to try to make it better and better every day. For example, we want to know all the people's members' names. We want them to feel good when they come in. We want them to say, carry the towels to the chair for them. And so far it's been trickling down to our staff. And if you look at the numbers for Memorial Day weekend alone, the highest pool usage that we've had from 1999 to 2000 this year was about 300 people using the pool the entire weekend. Memorial Day alone, we had 337 plus people at the pool on that day, and we had about 605 people use the pool for the entire weekend. The numbers for June are following that same path. Looking at past 14 years, the numbers are going incredibly well, but mainly customer service. We're really hammering customer service. The Billy Casper Golf team has been extremely professional. We're making a good meshing team. We help each other out. There's none of this is our area, your area. It's all working together. If Jason needs help on the greens out there, we give it. If we need help out there, we work together. We want to make this an incredible asset for the town of Woodbridge. I have quite a few of the numbers I'd like to mention, but if anyone has any questions that I can answer now, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Any questions?
How many pool memberships did you sell, you said you sold?
I believe this year we sold 148 pool memberships.
And that accounted for 300 and something people?
We had on that day, on that particular day, Memorial Day weekend, we had guests, we had members. We also had, that was a particular day where we offered free guests for people who wanted to bring their guests to showcase the pool. And on that day, a lot of people took advantage of that. But it was really quite exciting. A lot of people, we just sold 12 or 13 memberships this weekend. A lot of people's friends are joining the pool, so it's kind of like having a built-in play date. So,
And just to clarify, pool membership, you can get a family membership.
correct,
So you're counting one membership, but it could be a family of 4 or 5.
correct.
That's what you were
Yes.
asking, right? Is how many people have access under those memberships?
Yeah, basically, I'm just Joe taxpayer down the road here. I haven't been able to really, you know, I pay taxes here. I haven't been able to afford the pleasure of coming here. You know, you sound like you're, you know, everything's moving up, you know, we're getting a lot of people. What kind of a discount are the taxpayers going to be able to get in the future to come here? You know, we bailed you out, you know, I came to all your meetings, I voted for it. I would love to be afford to come here. What are you gonna do for us?
Well, I think that's a very good question. I can only speak on the pool. The side, for example, last year, the membership was like $1,450 for a family. And when we took a look at what we needed to have to run the pool for a family membership in the town of Woodbridge, it is now $1,050. And I could just speak from the bottom of my heart. If I was not working here, to have a heated pool, towel service, and a highly professional staff, that is a pretty good bang for your buck for $1,050. But I hear what you're saying and I
So
understand.
the residents couldn't even get a daily rate.
Yes, they can.
No, they're doing
They absolutely can. Yes, I came this week. I paid, and I'm a member of the golf. There's a daily rate. I brought my grandchildren. I paid $10 for myself and $10 each child.
There
I
are-
had a daily rate. Yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
distinction between resident and non-resident on every rate for access. So for golf, membership, pool, et cetera, there's resident priority on the rate side. And to what Ryan was mentioning earlier, the resident rate on the golf is even the best rate available, even if a non-resident buys one of our programs. So you buy the card program, it's still,
Great.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you know, to use the pool, I can't afford a full year, but if you
You
do
can have a
offer a
di-
resident daily rate,
we do.
What is that rate, Jason?
The rate for residents is $20
$20
for
a
the
day.
day. Yep.
Okay.
And for non-resident, non-members, the rate is $25. So you're getting a break on it.
So 20 for resident.
Correct. Yep. And we
Also,
look
is
to
there a
have.
senior rate also?
There is not this year.
Just to talk about the affordability of the pool membership, and you mentioned that it went down from last year, but do we have a sense of what it is compared to other pool clubs? There's the Woodbridge Club here in town. My understanding is they're significantly higher than that rate that we're getting here.
Correct.
So there is a discount.
I was just gonna.
And more service.
Correct.
Because we've got the towels, we've got.
Correct.
It's substantially lower, I understand.
Yes.
Or at least
Yeah.
people have told me.
Sir, all these rates I believe are posted on the website for the country club, correct?
They are.
So,
I
available
didn't
at the
see a
town
daily
hall.
rate on the website.
I'm not sure what the daily rate is on this.
so that's a good thing that we need
Good point,
we
yeah.
need to clarify that then, right? I have another question. You mentioned that there's a lot more use of the pool, and I can definitely see it. I've been here since it became a public club. I wonder, I noticed it because the lower parking lot is being used a lot more. Is there a possibility that the town can put a crosswalk in? That's one of
You
the
know,
things that we
it's
talked
funny that you
about.
say that. We're in the process of looking at that right now. We have the paint to do several crosswalks on our parking, on our particular, on the sections of the parking lot that we can do.
Not on the road.
Not on the road, for example, and I know the town has installed a couple signs, but as we move more towards that, there will be hopefully a crosswalk that gets you from the lower parking lot up above.
Yeah,
That's a great
definitely.
point,
There's
Sheila.
more people here all the time, and so the
Yeah,
parking.
so we have the paint to do it in-house. It's a little more of a procedure to do it on a town road.
Yeah, the town itself.
So
has
you
to-
should apply to the police commission, the traffic authority, and I'm sure they'll grant that to you.
I believe Deke has already talked to,
I actually already met with the gentleman from the police department.
Okay.
And we've already got that.
Good point, Sheila, it is.
Good.
Any other questions about the pool? They also offer tennis, so does anyone want to address that issue about tennis, if anyone's interested?
Jason, you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
the tennis courts are up and running. We started with just 4 courts. We do have 6 available, just due to the financial pressures of getting them open and not really understanding what the demand was. We started with 4. So far, we've got a lot of players out there. I believe we have about 30 tennis members. Again, same as with the pool membership. That could be a couple, it could be a family, or it could just be a single. We also have a daily rate on the tennis courts as well, $10 per day for the usage of the courts. Courts are playing very well. Clay tennis courts are very hard to maintain. They're kind of finicky, if you will, and if it rains, we got to shut them down, and so it's been a challenge for me personally to learn how to operate that. But again, we've got a great tennis pro. His name is Josh Altschuler. He's a local product here from Woodbridge. He's going to run a great junior program for us. We got lots of junior programs, Mondays and Wednesdays clinics. He's got cardio programs for anybody that wants to attend those. And his goal in the next several years is to really grow this program into a competitive tennis team, full cardio programs, full summer program for kids. So we've got some great plans on the tennis courts.
Sure, yeah.
I think one of the things that way we've handled people that were interested in coming to the pool, it's clear that we want to create a profit for the town of Woodbridge, whatever area we have. We don't want to say we lose $80,000 in an area. But any people that were interested in using the pool, my response to them, we would call them and say, listen, we'd love to have you come out to the pool as our guest. Come out and spend the day. If it's right for you today, it'll be right for you tomorrow. So, that invitation offers to you or anyone else, by all means. And also to be fiscally responsible, we're really watching the labor at the pool, because I know Ryan was talking about that's one area that we can have most control over, so that we stagger our lifeguard shifts from AM, midday, and PM. And if there is a need for the lifeguards on call for that particular shift, they stay on. If not, we might say, okay, so-and-so, would you please leave an hour earlier, or 2 hours earlier, or today cancel a shift. I just want to be able to come back to every single person in the town of Woodbridge and say, for example, so far this year, just by doing that, we've already knocked about $1,500 out of our labor budget. Now, we didn't irritate any lifeguards. We were just very fiscally responsible with our funds to say that when we need the guards, we have them on duty. When we don't need the guards, we send them home.
I just wanted to comment that even though you're doing that, the lifeguards at the pool are really alert, and it feels safer to me than a lot of other pools I've been to where the lifeguards perhaps are not paying as much. You guys, your crew does an amazing job.
Okay, any other questions about the operations of the golf club to date?
I had a quick question about the rooms up here. Obviously, this room is open, because here we are in it. And I remember a time when the meeting room across the hall used to be open and could be rented out. The Board of Ed did a retreat there, actually, I think 2 summers ago. Is it possible to rent out rooms here, or are they closed, or how do you handle it?
Currently, we've decided that this room and the room on the other side of this room across from the bar are the only 2 rooms that are going to be accessible, partially due to just aging infrastructure, AC. We can save on not renovating some of the things that we're going to need to here. So right now, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's it, right?
That's correct. But that being said, we can accommodate a meeting in this room or in that room. We actually already had one graduation party in here. That last week we had 70 people in here, and it was plenty of space. We set up the buffet in the bar area. The adults were in the farther room, keeping an eye on the kids that were in here. It worked out great, so I'd be happy to talk to you about any event.
Okay, so if anyone's interested in renting, they should just contact you and get the
Absolutely.
rates.
Mhm.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, then I'll get into the second item on the agenda. It's a segue to what Brian just mentioned about the conditions of the rest of the building here. Quite obviously, they are in need of repair. We knew that when the town bought this. Back on April 5th, myself and Tony Genovese, Andy Esposito, Dee Patchkis, Jerry Weiner, met with Larry Flanagan, who's the executive dean of the College of Business at the University of New Haven. And and they have a sports management department and also a hospitality management department. We met with Gil Freed, who's chairman of the sport management department, and Juliet Mills, who's the hospitality management department. And we gave them a tour of this building. And we told them that they told us and we told them that we may have a mutual interest in having some kind of relationship with the University of New Haven through their business school and or hospitality department. And we were scheduled to have a meeting earlier this month, but that was not able to be accomplished because some of these people were out of the country, actually. So we're going to have a meeting scheduled in the near future, and we're led to believe that they're going to make us some kind of a proposal in relation to that. They know that the renovations to this building are significant, and of course we could maybe enter in some kind of a lease arrangement with them if they were to undertake some of those improvements. So that's a work in process. They seem to be interested after the meeting, and since then, so we'll be looking forward to that. That's the reason, and the reason we have decided to only use this room and the area where the bar is, and then have this tent facility for events that take place here at the Country Club. The Board of Selectmen has gone ahead. We've authorized the pouring of the foundation for the tent and the purchase of the tent. That'll, as Ryan indicated, will be installed within the next several days. And we anticipate revenues from that to definitely more than offset the cost of that, which you can hear already. We've had $25,000 to $30,000 commitment already for that. So that's an ongoing project. And so does anyone have any questions about that?
Was the revenue from the tent, was that thought about and included in the projections early on when we were first engaged with Billy Casper?
Very conservatively, as you can see from Ryan's comments. June revenues for food and beverage are going to exceed budget without that. So the opportunity for the tent, one, it does a couple of things. One, to pour capital investment into any of these rooms now, with the future being so uncertain about this building, would have been, in our opinion, would have been a mistake. So we came into these rooms because they did not require capital investment to get going. The AC works, they don't leak. We're able to function within these. We didn't have to outlay a lot of money to get these rooms ready to go. So we're using it because we can, and it's been rewarding so far. The tent option, though, provides a tremendous amount of flexibility on two levels: golf outing business and any social events surrounding or associated with the golf event, dinners associated with the golf event, things like that, which you don't have the capacity to do now without substantial capital investment, far beyond what we're paying for the tent. And then the other element, which is why we located it where we did, is the added element that it provides for the pool crowd. So imagine doing social events and family parties and different things with the daily pool users and the members. Really limitless potential for different types of fun events towards children, towards families, towards groups, etc. You imagine having a group pool party where you're having a barbecue under the tent in your own private, secluded area on a day that we're not having outings. So the diversity of the appeal that can have is really exciting to us. So
what I'm asking is, I believe the projection was around 1.4 million in revenue.
Total revenues for the club, I think, were about 1.9.
Yeah.
Okay, 1.9.
I think
Yeah.
1.4.
What I'm saying is, in coming up with that number, had you anticipated this, or is this on top of that projection, is this a whole new revenue stream?
This would be an incremental lift on top of that, but it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's there's conservative nature. The business that we projected in the food and beverage can be done within this building, so it's on top of, for the most part.
Did you, in your budget, project monies for outings as a result of the use of this tent?
Not really.
Not very aggressive.
We didn't budget for any
business.
outing rounds. So, and I think
Yeah.
and I think during the RFP we discussed potentially wanting a tent, but we didn't know if we were going to be able to get that accomplished. So we kind of stayed neutral.
Three other clubs that we run here in Connecticut all three have substantial outing businesses. Wittenberg Hills, Lyman Orchards, and Oxford Greens. All three of them run their outing businesses through a tent. Lyman's is a little bit different because it's a 36-hole facility. Theirs is outfitted for 250 people. but Winterberry and Oxford's, which are 18-hole facilities, are sized very similarly to what we're providing here, to provide access and a nice environment for a full field shotgun, so to speak, of 140 to 150 guests. Very similar to what we do in Long Island at a club, in Westchester County at a club. The outdoor tent option for municipal style golf course type outings has been a very strong performer for us. So we're excited about that. You add the other element of the pool and different things you can do, and to us it's limitless. The other comment too is that we firmly believe that can survive whatever the future of this building might be. It would survive that. It's appropriate for use well beyond whatever happens here, be it with.
Unless it falls that way.
No, unless the building, unless the wrecking ball swings that way at some future date, right? Yeah, God forbid, knock on wood. But it should survive as at the least supplemental to whatever ultimately becomes the long-term solution here, if there is one.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, Bob.
Kind of along the same line of asking the financial side of things, and may not have all the answers on this. I know when the original budgets were being worked on, I don't know if this question should be for you or for Mr. Sheehy. Originally, there was, I think, a profit margin shown in our budget of, I think it was $300,000 or $400,000. Then it was trimmed back to break even. And I'm sure there was probably a lot of rationale behind, well, it's our first year, maybe we don't make money, so let's keep it at a break-even situation. And then I think at that point, there was also, I guess in your agreement, that any dollars over certain numbers at 1.8 or 1.9, you get 25% of those dollars. Is that correct?
I have to go and check.
Something like that.
Some incentive
Yeah.
language regarding performance.
So my question is, and I was actually really pleased to hear that you were watching the payroll, and Mr. Taddy was saying he's making sure he's not overspending. And it's kind of like the franchisor-franchisee type of relationship. Franchisors many times will want franchisees to run huge promotions that they do a lot of dollars in and maybe not make any money on. So my question is, whether it be for you or for Mr. Sheehy, is what things are in place to ensure, I think that the commission approves the pricing of whatever you offer on memberships, to ensure that we don't run programs that are just such a loser in terms of the sale, that you're operating at a profit, not just pushing sales and making sure you're actually turning a profit. And that's just a curious question. You may already have the answer to that already.
Well, I think the answer is that the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission meets monthly. Billy Casper Golf supplies a monthly financial statement with detail that can overwhelm you. And we were looking at the whole, in this process, is to make sure that that doesn't happen, what you described. And of course, we've only been really operating since April, May, and now June. But that issue hasn't arisen yet because we're in the preliminary stages of this operation. But we're surely mindful of that, and maybe, and Tony Genovese has access as our financial director to all of these financial statements online with Billy Casper, as they have them internally.
In relation to, obviously you're doing a professional job, and I think that we've hired the right people. That was just a question, how are we going to manage it? Obviously, we're in a 3-year agreement?
We have a 3-year agreement.
Obviously, if they were to push sales and not make money 3 years from now, we'd be having a different discussion. And I realize going the other way, if it was just you're splitting bottom line profits, that could lead to a different management style in terms of building customer base, because then you don't spend any money on anything. So, I just want to know that there are systems in place to manage this, to make sure that there's some checks and balances there, and it sounds like there are.
Well, let me just say one more thing. There's another provision in the agreement which assures Casper's good faith and trying to do as best as they possibly can, and that is that if they don't come within 75% of their budget, we have the opportunity to cancel the agreement. So you know that they're going to want to be working pretty hard to make sure they make those numbers.
Our goal is always to make sure that our goals are aligned with the client's goals, which is you, the people of the town. So the success of the club is going to be how we're measured, and we have full transparency in that. Tony Genovese and the entire team associated with the club have full access on at a moment's notice to anything that they like. They get copies on everything. So this, we want everything to be out in the open to say, here's what we're doing. We're sharing in decision making. We're advising where we need to make sure that we get buy-in on the things that we want to do, and we're sharing in the resultant things. Because you're right, there is incentive language, and the reason the incentive language is tied to revenues as opposed to profitability is because, you know, there's tax-free bonding and things like that, where there's IRS laws regarding that. So that's a typical structure in a municipal environment. Our perspective is how we view what we want to accomplish here. Our goal for this relationship is to have it go beyond the 3 years. It's not about a single year's value to Billy Casper Golf. It's about the longevity of that relationship. It's how we've operated, and we want to be judged based on the performance that we deliver. And we're happy to be doing that. So.
Okay, yes.
Hi, I'm Lisa Deck. When you were talking earlier, I don't remember, I think you were saying that Golf Now, you increased the number of sales through Golf Now from last year to this year, but we weren't in business last year.
Well, what we provide is, Golf Now is providing the data from whoever the operator was, because we're getting that data from the third-party vendor. So Golf Now sold through their website 78 rounds for whoever the operator was in 2011, and we've sold 640 or 25 or something. So, and again, that sounds great, and I think it is, but now we want to get into that and understand is, you know, we know that we sold our rounds for less money, and they're telling us that. So there's a lot of we sold more rounds for less per dollar round, meaning maybe we sold more Twilight, maybe we just sold more, maybe we just discounted more. There's a plenty of different metrics where now we can understand, is that good? How good is it? And what kind of sense can we make of it? But right now, the primary focus has been driving business to the facility, and then we find it much easier to increase rate than start at a point up here and try to decrease rate.
The revenue from the Golf Now result, it's insignificant in the sum of, as a percentage of the whole. In total, Golf Now represents about a max of about 6% of our bookings at many of our clubs, but it's a good indicator of how we're reaching into different markets. The revenue year over year, even though we sold rounds at a cheaper rate, was substantially higher. I think it was 22,000.
We did about
2 last year.
Yeah, we did about 30,000 in Golf Now revenue this year in May versus 4,000 last year.
So substantial overall revenue growth, and when you have a golf course that has excess capacity, you don't have to worry up front about how many rounds you're putting on at that rate. The reason you worry about rate versus volume is because you just want to make sure you're not underselling, and are you losing an opportunity to capitalize on greater demand than you are. Golf courses, with the exception of a brief window on a weekend morning, are going to have plenty of capacity to accommodate a lot of these rounds that are out there, especially when they come during the week and twilight times, things like that. So we're excited about that result. It's a lot better than doing 78 again. And not wondering why we can't appeal to more people. Yes, sir.
I got a question, maybe a little controversial, but what kind of impact would it take if you closed down, let's say we opened up like a Woodbridge Day and reduced all the rates for the people in Woodbridge on that one day, for good public relations, a little give back to the community, and is it possible to be able to do that, on a revenue basis where you could reduce everything that one day and have a Woodbridge Day?
That's a great question, because we do that at several of our municipal facilities. The timing for that is generally early, so we want to do that, or we do that at our other clubs in April, where we can showcase the facility. It's usually in good shape by April. We can get people in, we can give it away at a time that's not going to necessarily impact revenues. We talked about that with the Golf Commission, and we think we want to do that either in this fall, because now we're in season, it will have a significant impact, but we're open to suggestions. But we have agreed that we want to look at it this fall, and we certainly want to do something in the spring. At Falmouth Country Club, for instance, on Cape Cod, which is a municipality, we do it's $1, and we feed you. So it's an entire give back to the community, and on years where we've had inclement weather, we reschedule. So the idea is we want people to come to it, and we know that a vast majority of golfers, our business is coming from Woodbridge and the very tight surrounding areas. So it's crucial and critical to our success that the residents of Woodbridge want to come here.
We only give you half a donut, but we feed you.
It was a half a hot dog. So yeah, we want to do that. I mean, I think you're going to see more of that stuff. I know this one this, that we're gonna have on July 7th is a for pay event, but it is priced from a resident philosophy. And we're gonna have more of this stuff where we're gonna get either at cost or low cost, no cost type events sprinkled in throughout the season.
Yes.
I just want to comment, as a commission member, I've got to say, I'm very proud of us as a commission and our decision and the caliber of service we are getting from Billy Casper. You had mentioned the golfing outings and what that brings in. In their proposal, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was presented, and not just by you, that we were going to be behind the 8 ball because no one knew what was going to happen here. So you can't sell something if you don't know you have anything to sell, and that's how you came in. And getting people in, even on a discount, and they've been very generous to the residents, always keeping all the residents in mind. That's always been a major concern. But by getting the people in here, selling at discount, we've booked, just by looking at a slab, we've booked these outings. So people are getting that. And on the finance end, one of what I thought as a member, a big perk with a national firm is all the discounts. I mean, we have a Ryan getting rates, working very closely with Tony for financing rates that I don't think we could get. I did take a tour. Every piece of equipment is brand new. So even if something, the quality of the product, the asset this town has is quite big. Using rates that I don't know if we could get the type of rates that with their national exposure they get for us. So we've got a lot of quality in a lot of areas. And as I took the tour, just seeing the way the guests on this course react to the manager, who knows, everybody's pleasant to everybody. It was, I think it's a real asset for the town. And they've done a great job fiscally and otherwise.
Thank you. We still have a long way to go. Any other questions? Yeah, that's great.
And from that meeting with the University of New Haven, I know the next meeting is planned, but for yourself or a few other people that attended that, did you glean from them or did they share? Is there any more information about what a potential partnership would look like? Are they mainly interested because maybe, a hospitality school ideally needs a facility that they operate a real life facility, or did they talk about, would they have any classrooms going on here?
They talked about that as a possibility. We didn't get into the specifics of it other than I took away, and others who were there, Jerry was there and Deke was there, that they had an interest in pursuing this, and we've been told indirectly that that's the case. And Jerry Shaw is in the process of scheduling this meeting. Two of the principals were in France actually when we had the meeting scheduled. They had to cancel it for that reason. But I can't give you any details on that yet, Greg. As soon as we get it, we'll be one of the first to know.
As an illustration, as part of their curriculum, they operate a kitchen. But the kitchen is undersized for the student body. So they have to do something in the sense of, create a bigger kitchen, and lo and behold, we've got a kitchen that's about 4 times the size of what they have. And there's similar things like that sort of, line up.
I mean, one of the ideas would be here, pursuing what Deke has said, is that kitchen would be operational, and it would be serving a restaurant here, ideally. And so that would be part of the relationship, but I don't have any specific.
How can you entertain these discussions when you list here potential future options? The town may want to sell this parcel. It may want to develop it, may want to keep it, it may want to keep it in Violet. How could you be pursuing this line with people, commercial people in good faith, and talking about long-term leases when one of the purposes of this meeting is to decide what the town wants to do with this property? And it seems to me you're working at it's not even a parallel track here. I don't know where the people of this town ever contemplated that the University of New Haven would be conducting for-profit activities here and attracting third parties and invitees and licensees onto these premises under the narrow scope of why we bought this property in the first place, which was to keep it from a certain kind of development. But to keep, in buying it, to keep it from a certain type of development, we didn't say, you know, but we'll entertain all kinds of uses that are way beyond the scope of this property as it has traditionally been maintained and alters the character of this neighborhood. I don't understand how the Board of Selectmen and this committee could go out to the University of New Haven or anybody like that and entertain this type of a topic. I think it's kind of shocking.
Maybe easily shocked, I don't know.
I'm getting less and less easily shocked.
The fact is that we shared the contract that we have with Billy Casper with the University of New Haven, those people. And if they were to run a restaurant here, that would be consistent with what a restaurant was run here before. So there, I don't see that as a problem. But this is just all in these. Let me finish, please. It just in the discussion stage. Nothing has been agreed to. Nothing has even been proposed. I'm just bringing this up as a possibility.
A restaurant has been run here as a country club, but not a restaurant that one could go to if one didn't belong to the country club.
Well, first of all, no one has proposed to run a restaurant. Okay, their particular need is curriculum-based. As part of that, they see that it would be useful to be able to offer to our recreational activities food and beverage services. So in essence, replace the Casper people. Now that's, you know, frankly, as far as it might go.
You know,
we ran a restaurant here since
very well. I understood each word you uttered separately, but when they were tied into a sentence, I haven't the slightest idea what you just said.
Well, since 2009, there's been a restaurant run here. Mr. Manchetti ran a restaurant here up through 2011. And there are restaurants being run here right now by Billy Casper.
Mr. Manchetti was paying the town money, and the risk was mostly on Mr. Manchetti, as I understand.
Donald, if I can say something, you asked the question, how can you undertake these negotiations? I would ask the question, how can you not get all the information available from interested, bona fide people, companies who show and express an interest in this country club in order to make the informed decision that the town will ultimately have to make as to what's the future use. If you turn down people and say, we're not talking because it's not part of the existing plan, I think it would be irresponsible, and I think you would not want anyone to do that. There's information out there from people who are interested in the club, and that's going to be presented to the town and the golf commission. I think it's responsible to do that kind of investigation for the town to make an informed decision.
That might be, but not after the Toll Brothers fiasco and the way that was conducted. I think after Toll Brothers, people have a very heightened sensitivity to this parcel and the future of this parcel. And I think people are going to be stunned to hear that without ascertaining what the public's mood is, that you have now gone out to the University of New Haven and are having discussions about classrooms and kitchens and replacing Billy Casper and restaurants. And I feel pretty confident in people being stunned at hearing that.
I
think the bottom line is they're trying to make this club work. And if it takes a little bit of initiative to go out and get this club to work, they're going to make it work. And I think the people in Woodbridge would like this club to work because they spent a lot of money on this club. And everybody has this thing, which you do, that says they want to sell it. Well, I don't want to sell this club.
I don't either.
I think this is an asset to the town of Woodbridge. And they have to do, excuse me, they have to do what they have to do to be able to make this club work. And if it's make a restaurant, it makes a restaurant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Point of
Oh,
information?
yep.
The meeting here is a meeting of the Board of Selectmen along with several other commissions.
That's correct.
And I'm wondering if we could maybe go around the room and identify ourselves, members of the commissions, because I think it's very important that the Board of Selectmen asked all these commissioners to come. And I just want to make sure that people understand that we've got a lot of commissions represented here, but even myself, I don't know who we have in the room. So I wonder if we might first go around and each of the people who are here for a board or commission could just identify themselves and their commission.
Why don't I call a roll?
Excellent, thank you, Jerry. Very nice.
Board of Selectmen, Edward Sheehy.
Here?
Gregory Coyne.
Here.
Lawrence Grothier.
Here.
Beth Heller is absent. Susan Jacobs.
Here.
Tom Kennethett.
Here.
Conservation Commission, Richard Kruger.
Here.
Sanford Labine. Roger Harrison. Paul DeCoster.
Here.
Maria Kane.
Here.
Kathy Schufro. James Urbano.
Here.
Country Club of Woodbridge Commission, Roger Harrison. Karen Kusick.
Here.
Phyllis Janelle.
Here.
Alan Ufflin. Andrew M. Esposito Jr. Derek Hotchkiss.
Here.
Dolph Luciani.
Here.
Publicly owned properties. Laura Ferrenti Fernandez.
Here.
Richard S. Levine. Cleo D. Nicolakis. Ernest C. Britton. Sheila McCrevin.
Here.
Kimberly Hines.
Here.
Jeff Kaufman. James Urbano. Recreation Commission, Stephen Kahn. Stanley Gdansky.
Here.
Robert Hill.
Here.
Michael Heffelbein.
Here.
Janet Hirschman. Dwight Rowland. Andrea Weinstein. And then I note that John Adamovich, who is Recreation Director, is here.
Okay, all right. So that gets us into the third item on our agenda, potential future options. And well, this is a meeting basically for the people, these commissioners that we've had, but we've allowed some questions. Mr. Urbano, why don't we give him a chance?
Just a quick question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the cost of the tent, the excavation, is that borne by the taxpayer? Or did you fund those improvements?
Well, it's going to be paid out of the operating budget.
I'm sorry?
It's going to be paid out of the operating budget of the club, yeah.
So you want, so Billy Casper will be paying for that?
Right?
No, it's a lot, no, the town's buying it.
The town's paying?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The taxpayer?
But we're,
Yes.
and we're paying for it in our
Out
budget.
of the budget for the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission, which is anticipated that the payment for that will be generated by revenues from the country.
I thought I heard that the revenue is not as projected. for
That's
the
correct.
first- For April, May, June. Is that correct?
Correct.
The golf carts, the mowing equipment, all the brand new equipment, did the taxpayer pay for that?
Yes.
The leases.
I'm sorry?
The leases out of the operating budget.
So,
So they're being paid by Casper out of the revenues that come in, and it's a lease. There was no expenditure of cash by the town. It's all coming under the leases.
so the town is not liable for that debt?
All of the activity here at the club is ultimately the town's liability. The revenues and expenses, any assets, they all belong to the town. So anything that we're engaging or providing buying power on, et cetera, is all flow through, but the town is the one making those purchases, and the town is the one receiving the revenues from the club operations as well.
So it's anticipated that the cost of those will be paid for by the revenues generated from the operation of this country.
Is the maintenance of that equipment also part of the lease agreement? I'm just trying to get an understanding of how much the taxpayer is subsidizing this operation and how much of the projected revenue is based on, or reliant on that subsidy?
Well, right now, the initial budget that we proposed to the town of Woodbridge had about in the budget for the town, I know there was zero subsidy. Our expectations were that there's actually a substantial surplus. The maintenance of the equipment is performed by an on-site equipment mechanic who's an employee of ours, but it's essentially being paid for by the revenues of the club. And all the expenses and all of the revenues are all, at the end of the day, belong to the town. We're the management agent executing all of those operations on your behalf. That's what the contract provides for.
Yes, ma'am? Yeah. Okay.
First, I just want to say I appreciate everyone on the board. When I'm at home watching TV, you guys are out here deciding my future. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because since all this has been going on, I've been to a lot of these civic meetings and really come to care about things, about my neighbor here and my neighbor here. And I think that what we're trying to say is, I think your ideas are exciting. I think that it's really exciting and I'm really into it. But at the same time, I wouldn't know about it if I wasn't here. And people are sort of taking the ball and running with it, and the townspeople don't know what's going on, and I don't think that's right. I think that you're spending a lot of money on things. If it were my decision, I would have taken that money and put it in here. But that's just me. Point being, everyone sees problems and solutions differently. The reason that you keep getting inflamed residents at your meeting is because we're finding out so late what is happening. When we said no golf commission, someone comes in with some words about, well, then start an authority. Or maybe it's the other way. Is it the other way around?
The other way around, right.
Okay, you can have an authority whatever way it is. Whatever way it is. It was sidestepping. It was saying, oh, now the townspeople are onto us, the townspeople are complaining, let's do this other maneuver that gives us essentially the same power to make decisions for everyone, but we're allowed to do this. And it's those kind of little side moves that have us who are concerned looking and saying, well, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? And why are you hiding from us what you're doing?
You know what? Let me interrupt you.
No, I will not allow you to interrupt me.
I take exception.
Are you Susan?
I take exception.
Are you Susan?
To your implication.
Are you Susan?
Anything is done here that is outside a publicly noticed meeting. You can finish it.
I'm sorry, are you Susan?
My name is Susan Jacobs. I'm on the board
Yeah, I remember
of
you
Selectmen,
from when my kids grew up, Susan.
I take exception to your statement.
To which one, Susan?
The implication that anyone acting on behalf of the citizens is somehow sidestepping something.
When you
I'm a
start,
volunteer. Excuse
when
me.
the
I'm a
town,
volunteer.
when the town
All
says,
right? This is my time.
when
I
the
stay
town
here.
says, no, it's
Act
actually
on
my
town's
time.
behalf.
I was recognized
And I
to
don't
speak.
appreciate your implication.
I was recognized to speak and you've misunderstood my implication,
No, I
Susan.
misunderstood. I
If
think
I
it's
say
very
that
clear.
you cannot have crayons and you go get paints and mark up the walls, are you still marking up the walls?
That is not what you implied.
Then allow me to correct myself, Susan. What I was trying to say, what I thought I said, is that when you are forbidden from doing one thing and you do a similar thing, it makes people feel distrustful
I
of you.
cannot control your perception of it, but I will tell you that, again, I take exception. Why don't you ask your question so we can answer?
Some people in the room should look at the last vote and find out who trusted, who didn't trust. That's the answer.
Here, here.
Ma'am, this is a commission meeting, it's not a public hearing, and I would ask that you would be respectful of commission members, please.
I thought I had permission to speak. I don't know all the rules.
Yeah, okay, ma'am,
So-
this is a meeting of each group, but
So if I didn't understand the
out of
rules.
courtey to you,
I'm
you
sorry.
came here, well, if you have a question, you can ask it, and we'll try to answer it.
Okay, my question is, can you find a better way to let the town people know what you're doing in these rooms?
Let's
As you
require
know-
everyone to
as
read
you
the
know, let me
minutes.
answer the question. As you know, all these
I've
meetings
never
are-
seen such disorder. So many people are attacking me verbally. It was my turn to speak. It's really making me feel uncomfortable because
I want you to be comfortable.
Because I'm grateful for all of you guys doing this work, I really am.
You asked the question.
And I'm not trying to offend you, but I am telling you that your perception to people like me, to people who are not civically involved normally, is that a lot is going on. Money is being spent, decisions are being made, a route is being taken, the townspeople are left out. You're having this meeting, but if the townspeople say stop, you'll drop it right now because you're our servant.
That's not true.
No,
Because you're our servant.
no.
The meeting.
I don't even know you. Why are you directing?
I introduced myself during roll call. My name is Sheila McCraven. I'm a member of the Coopop Commission. I've been invited
Why are you
here.
allowing her to pick at me? I don't know.
You asked the question, I'm going to try to answer it. and
Yes,
then
sir,
we're going to
please
move on
do.
to the next one.
And I'll sit down now.
The thing is that all these meetings we have are televised, the meetings of the Board of Selectmen. This meeting tonight, which is an informational meeting, is being televised. There is some reporting in the Bethwood Patch. There's also the bulletin that's in the New Haven Register. And they're, quite obviously, the minutes are put on the website for the town of Woodbridge. That's probably the best we can do. It's always better to correspond even more than that, but that's what's available to us, and that's what we're using. So you're here tonight, you knew about this meeting, which is good. I appreciate your coming and your input.